Okay, I'm sorry, Demon. I think the last video might have put him in hiding. His new name now is Rocky. And he's just, he went from Demon to Rocky. Rocky's like the best. He's like Eye of the Tiger and he's like doing his boxing. And yeah, I mean, we all kind of root for Rocky because he's like the underdog. But yeah, branding change, brand change. So, same person. The march size went down 2 million and his rally capacity went up 2 million. So, and it sounds like from Oz, that Aussie guy that you see everywhere, he said that the requirement for 45 is the 44 rally hall. So, it looks like Damon Rhythm Rocky is going for it. He's going for 45. Okay, guys, as promised, I'm going to break this update down by little chunks because trying to do everything at once is going to be chaotic. So, for me, for a mid coiner, for maybe even a low coiner at this point, my first priority when I look at all of the updates is not going to 41. Okay, that might be a lot of the big coiners' priorities, but my priority is utilizing those extra 2 subsidy slots. Why? Because we can outfit them to get them debuff gear. Because what do we have to do? We have to be able to counteract all of these really big coiners that are now going to have these really huge march sizes and boosts. So for me, focusing on the extra subsidy slots is going to be most important. Now, you will be able to unlock one extra subsidy slot if you have VIP 15, and then you can unlock 2 if you have VIP 18. So if you already have VIP 18, you're lucky that you can unlock the slots. One thing that I noticed about the immediate update was that we lost power right away. Now, I think they fixed this update. I think they actually fixed something, but we weren't able to get our power from the subsidies. It kept not recognizing the generals in the subsidy slots, so it kept just showing the power of the subsidy only. And so we had to keep reassigning the generals to the subsidy. After they did a force update, though, I haven't seen that issue anymore. So if you do experience it right after your update, don't panic if you lose, 50 million to whatever power your subsidies are. That is just because the game glitched. So all you have to do is just reassign your sub generals back to your sub cities. Now, I am lucky that I have Sapphire as my good friend who held one of my Russians. I had like a so here's the thing. Here's again why this is upsetting, right? Because we spend so much money on these historic subsidies and subsidies in general, and sometimes we run out of space. And so when we run out of space, we can't just leave it out hanging out, right? Unless we donate it to the server, which I've done. Like, we've done it 4 times, but we keep winning these subsidies that, range to be about 300 to 500 to thousands of dollars. And so we usually give those away or exchange it for teleports or whatever it is. We give those really expensive subsidies away to other people. And what happens? You now are able to get subsidies back. And so when you give them away, because I've given away many purple Japans, and I could have had 2 Japans and I would have been happy. But now I had to get a Russian back that Sapphire was holding for me. And I had to basically take the Europe back that I gave to the server until I can win another Japan or Russia. So it's unfortunate, but and the game, it doesn't teach us these things, in hindsight. So what you really need to do, and even though Evony says that you can't have an alt, guys, I don't have an alt, but I think definitely I definitely will advocate that you at least have one alt to hold extra subsidies that you win if you don't have people to give it away to. And our issue was that we gave away subsidies to our alliance, so people had them. And you always have to make sure that you're giving away subsidies to people who aren't going to quit or who aren't going to lose them, right? You have to give it away to people that are good players, and it doesn't mean they have to be big players. Good players are the people that actually bubble during, KE and SVS, and will they will respect those types of gifts that are given to them. So then there's the other thing, which I like doing, is trading for teleports, because then I don't care if they lose it. They basically exchanged, I don't know, like 100 teleports, and then that's like nothing. But it is at least a way for me to be like, all right, just let it go and move on. But now that we know how Evony is, who knows if they're going to open up 15 slots next time, or 20. So I would be very wise and hold your subsidies if you can. And to be honest, looking back, I wish I would have stolen a lot of subsidies, because I've never stolen any except for one. And looking back, I wish I would have, because there's just a lot of people that deserved it, but also, you know what? I would have had all gold Japans by now. So just another thing to think about in your dealings with Evony. So thanks to everybody in the Discord channel that helped me figure out the subsidy glitch issue. I do just want to show you really quick the VIP, where it shows you that you get the extra subsidies. So that's VIP 18. And if you go back to VIP 15, it'll show you the +1. So I would say it's your perspective, right? Is VIP 15, is that maybe a low mid spender, and then VIP 18 is kind of like a mid upper middle class? I don't know how you describe it, because VIP 18 is not cheap. It's not. But it's crazy to see people that are like 19, 20, and they're just like, yeah, I spent 100K. I can't wrap my head around it. I can't wrap my head around it. So going back to this is what I want to show you. It will show you that you don't have this subsidy slot unlocked. It'll just show you it's not unlocked for you. All you have to do is attack a subsidy and it will take it. That's all you have to do. I don't know if they updated that, but during the time when I was trying to figure out how to unlock the slots, that's all I had to do, was just hit the subsidy. So what I also wanted to bring up here is a couple of things. So now you're kind of forced to choose what you're going to do with the generals that you're going to pick. And so I decided just to put 2 generals that are good generals, right? They're good generals, but I probably won't be able to awaken them. I probably won't be able to 10-star them. So my thinking is that I might want to maybe use Nero or a Herald, or somebody that's easy to get in the tavern, just to get them awakened so that those debuffs can pile up pretty high. The only thing is that speccing them out is going to be an issue, right? So, but I think the trade-off is better to have the 10-star awakened sub generals, and then to spec out the better sub generals. And so I put Hojo and Mark Anthony in those 2 new slots, but I'll never get Hojo, and I probably won't even get Mark Anthony anytime soon. I have like no desire to coin, so I probably won't get them anytime soon. So my thinking is that I will hold them there for now while I try to build up, like a Nero or a Herald during one of the Trial of Night events, and then switch them out. And then when I want to actually start speccing things, I'll only do that when I start getting more Hojos and Mark Anthony's, which will be way, way, way down the line. Because what I have noticed is you don't want to prematurely spec. Don't do that. Don't prematurely spec. Just don't do it. Premature anything, just don't do. So I've wasted a lot of gems doing that, and realizing that, oh, I'm actually going to end up dismissing this general. And so I would just, you know, figure out the best use of your gems, especially now because of the dragon general upgrades. Those are going to cost you a lot of gems. So really thinking about prioritizing where you're going to put that and what's going to give you the most bang for your stats, right? And you can always just spec the second one. I think the second one's always the debuff one. So you can always just do the second one and then you know that you're not going to get those runestones back if you're going to trade it in for Blood of Ares. And so just know that that might be a throwaway. But again, we're thinking like long term, right? So I hope that makes sense for you guys. And of course, I have all this gear that I have extra, which is nice, where I kind of was like, well, this is a waste of gear that I made. So I'm glad that I made it. But I'm still going to be needing to make a whole bunch of Archimedi. I don't even know how you pronounce it, but I'm going to have to make a bunch more of that gear. And of course, we just had the dragon feeding event, so I exhausted all of my materials on feeding those dragons. My dragon for Thebes is really close to 13, I believe, so I'm going to go ahead and finish that out first because I'm gonna need all the defense help that I can get with these new boosts. And I have the Fanfear that is acting as the siege dragon right now, very close to I think 11. So I'm gonna finish those two dragons out first, but then and those will be done like within a day. Like they're like so close to being upgraded. But then all of my material focus is now going to swing back to making debuff gear. And so once I get all that debuff gear on, now I'm going to feel more comfortable that I'm going to have more debuffs to have. And that will help on, you know, the bigger monsters if you want to hit them. It's going to help with attacking and it will help with defense. So I think that prioritizing the sub-general gear and the slots, I think that's my priority. Even though it's not as sexy as upgrading to, you know, Keep 41, even though people are having a ball with this garden thing, I can't wait to do the garden thing, but I can't think about the garden right now. I have to think about getting this foundational stuff done. The subsidy generals and subsidy slots and dragons, right? These are non ever changing boosts, right? These are permanent boosts. These are not boosts that you pay gems to on the offering and you get regent and you only get that boost until you keep spending those gems. Those are the gambling boosts that kind of are you know, they go away. These are the boosts that I want to focus on, that I know that are going to be there and they're concrete. They're not going to change. So those are the boosts that I like to focus on. And that's why I was always a Civ Treasure fangirl until they freaking upgraded it to level 8, which nobody has gotten to, I don't think. So I just think that the foundational boosts that don't change are very important to have. And of course, you can blow 5 million gems, and I've done it before on just trying to refine, and you're only going to get a 3% to 10% stat difference. Not worth it, especially when now you can upgrade your dragon talents for, again, permanent concrete boosts. So this is just what my perception is, my opinion is. You guys can all tell me in the comments if you disagree. And one thing that people have asked me was to review the debuff skill books. And the reason why I didn't was because I didn't want you guys to buy it. Why? Because it was silly. Why? Because who wants to spend money on skill books that can get easily replaced? So we know with debuff skill books that if you put all purples down and you lay them down, you can replace them with the higher color, right? The orange or the red. But you're going to have to be replacing purples quite a bit. And those debuff skill books were hundreds of dollars. Who is in their right mind is going to want to watch hundreds of dollars just get replaced, right? you can barely stand it on the free skill books that we get. So how can you possibly watch that happen on $100 books? Now, one thing you could do is you could do one skill book per general, right? Just one, and not replace it ever, but that's all you're going to get. But the problem is that what happens? You end up switching out your subgenerals a lot of times because they end up giving you upgraded generals. You end up finding better generals. That subgeneral thing gets changed around a lot. And unfortunately for me, I dismissed a lot of the subgenerals that I actually built up, that actually had the XP and the cultivation. And I had like 2 of those David ones that were, I think, 6-starred, and I could have kept him, right? And he could have easily gone in the sub slot, but I dismissed him, and you know, unfortunately for me, again, not knowing that Evony was going to do this really unravels the work that I did. So I do really think that they should rethink the runestones or the blood of Ares. I think that if you put the runestones and the blood of Ares into it, you should get it all back. You know, let us get those things back that we paid for, and then we won't be so disgruntled. If you do come out with 5 new slots, then at least we can disassemble and reassemble things that we've already bought. But the problem that I think that people are having is that we we give away and we disassemble, just like the Monarch XP. Think about all the people that gave away Monarch XP like I did. And of course, now we don't have enough Monarch XP to upgrade. So it's just, it really sucks, you know? But knowing what we know now, I feel like you just have to kind of hoard everything, and really, unfortunately, you have to think about those types of processes. It sucks though, because it's like there's a lot of generals that you upgrade that you never end up using again, and you want to use it for something else, but you basically, you waste it. It's wasted. So anyways, I hope this kind of helps give a little bit of vision to how you guys want to go about all of these crazy updates, because I'm the type of person that I believe in little bits at a time, you know, take one part at a time. I've always done that from the start of this game, and I feel like I've built really efficiently and really well for, you know, the what I've put in. And I think that people try to do everything at once, a little bit of everything at once, and that's not going to help you gain the most bang for your buck. You want to actually go to the boost that is the most efficient, the most concrete, and something that you can grind for if you're a non-spender or a low spender, because obviously you can kill monsters for materials to build your Archimeda gear and your Civ gear. So, and you don't even have to get Civ gear for this, right? You only have to get the Archimeda gear. And so, yeah. I'm sorry for this one, guys. It's just rambling, but it's the best way to get this all, the thought process out. And hopefully this helps some other people. And let me know if you disagree or if you have other priorities that you think are better. I know a lot of people who are strictly rally teams might think this is not so important, but I really think it is, because you still have to withstand other people's rallies. So your defense, you have to have better debuffs. You do. So once I get this in a good place, I'm going to move into that garden, because I want to make a beautiful garden. And I also am really, really kind of curious about the appointed council or whatever that's called. So I'm going to look into those things after I get this situated, and we'll make another video for you guys soon. See ya.